Welcome to the Work Hard, Play Hard podcast. My name is Rob Murgatroyd, and I am a former doctor turned lifestyle entrepreneur. Each week, I interview some of the best minds on the planet on the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. Today's episode is a mini-sode that we call Fri-Date with the Wife. In these mini-sodes, my wife Kim and I deconstruct the strategies that we've developed over the last decade to not only grow personally, but to turn our struggles into lessons and create fulfillment in all areas of our lives. Excuses are over. It's time to live. Let's dig into today's topic. All right, before we jump into this episode, I want to invite you to be considered for my Work Hard, Play Hard Mastermind by completing an application at workhardplayhardmastermind.com. So this mastermind is not like any mastermind you may have been to or heard of, I promise you. This mastermind is for 6 to 7 figure entrepreneurs that are working too damn much and aren't taking the time to have amazing experiences around the world with an incredible tribe of people. So every 100 days or so, I drop you into new experiences that are specifically designed to elevate your thinking, to give you new ideas. Look, you get your best ideas not staring at a computer. And actually, this is the way high-level people really collaborate with each other. They do it over a glass of champagne, watching the sunset in the south of France. So if you are ready to do some fun stuff around the world and really, really want to level up your tribe in one shot, fill out an application at workhardplayhardmastermind.com. We'll jump on a call and we'll see if it's a good fit. All right, let's jump into today's episode. Well, Kimberly, cheers, Murgatroyd.
It's like an instrument.
How are you on this Saturday night? It is like an instrument. But before you answer how you are, how many hertz does the tuning fork vibrate at? 428
I have no
hertz.
idea, honey. How do you know this random piece of information?
Because I used to be a DJ, and it is a very important thing to understand frequencies. But listen, this is not why we're here. The people that are in the gym, they're walking down the road, are holed up in their houses, are not interested in 428 hertz. But what they are interested in is having a better relationship. And this is why we are here tonight. And we are going to complete the last we have 8 dates that we are doing with John Gottman.
Isn't this number 3?
This is number 3, but we're going to end it here because I just think that 8 dates is a lot. So we're going to end it with 3.
I don't know. I'm getting some reach out. People are loving it.
We're going to end it with 3.
M&Ms just went everywhere.
M&Ms went everywhere. Tell them why you have M&Ms tonight, honey.
No.
You can.
No.
Come on, you can.
No one needs to know about this.
Well, when a certain person visits during a certain part of the month, my wife and I have been married 15 years, and I try and do the best I can. It's the one opportunity where she likes a yellow M&M. She doesn't eat the whole bag, but she has a couple of bites.
The peanut M&Ms.
Yeah, and so I don't know. It's just
He's been handing me a bag of peanut M&Ms for 15 years. Once a month.
What we're going to talk about tonight in
and every
our
person
book,
listening just went, yuck.
8 dates now. We don't care. Is we're going to talk about money.
This will be good.
We're going to talk about money.
This will be good.
All right. So,
do you remember when I took my ring off and got mad at you over money? And that's when we decided that
you're going to handle it.
I was going to handle it, and you're not.
Thank God. What did your maternal and paternal grandparents do for a living?
Interesting. So my maternal grandfather worked in metals, eventually owned a metal company with his brothers, and my grandmother passed a millionaire.
Were they meddlers?
No, they were lovely. My paternal grandparents were teachers, and my father's father was the superintendent of schools. They were all teachers. I come from a big, long line of teachers on that side.
Well, mine were, I mean, it's great. You did really good with yours, but mine, I just feel like it's embarrassing for me to say this because of
No, your grandfather was a taxidermist.
The nobility at which I'm from.
Okay.
No, he was not a taxidermist. I had a random weird uncle that my father. No, he was not a taxidermist.
Yes, he is.
He was not a taxidermist. We're talking about great grandfather or grandfather?
Well, either. Whatever.
My grandfather was a criminal. Okay. Let me tell you how completely fucked up this is. I could not tell you what he did for a living. Here's what I remember. Is
this your father's father?
My father's father. The only thing, and if my brothers were here, I swear to you, they would say the exact same thing. The only memory we have of him is, I was probably 7 or 8 when he died. So it's not like he died, before I was born or anything. He would sit in a chair, not talk to anybody, do the crossword puzzle. And the thing that we remember most was he had a number 2 pencil and he would stick it in his ear and scratch it and wax would be on the end of the pencil.
No. Okay, that's so gross.
That's it.
We've grossed everybody out. No one's listening anymore. This will be a private conversation.
Okay, so that was what I remember from him. I don't honestly know what he did for a living. Well,
his father was a taxidermist.
I don't know what this taxidermist you're talking about. I had an uncle that was actually, you're right.
I have the documents.
His father was.
I literally actually have an advertisement he placed in a newspaper in New York.
Listen, we're very proud of this. Okay, I mean it's amazing, so like it was not. He was not.
Now, what kind of animals are you stuffing in New York City?
It's a really good question.
I mean,
it's a really good question. I have no idea.
And what did your mother's parents do?
Well, that's actually a bit more interesting. He was a barber. He came over. Oh,
that's right. I actually have all their records. So
he came over from Naples, and he had cut the hair in Brooklyn, in Brooklina.
He wasn't a butcher.
There was no butcher. Okay. It was a candlestick maker, but there was no butcher. There was a booker, and so that's what they did. Okay, next question.
All right, that was a lot.
What did your parents do for a living?
They were teachers.
Mine were criminals. No, my father was a truck driver. In the winter, he drove number 2 oil, which was oil, and that you got to be the son of a truck driver who drives oil in Queens to really understand that.
I know a number 2 pencil, but other than that,
well, it was just a grade of oil. Like I learned that when you go get gas in your car. That's oil. It's just a derivative of it, right? It's just more refined.
And now what did your mother do, honey?
My mother worked for St. John's Hospital in Queens, which is it's at the epicenter now of COVID. So she is freaked out because it's
But that was a really long time ago.
COVID? No, that was like last week. It's like right now.
Your mother working
I'm teasing. I know what she was
It was
asking.
like 40 years ago.
No, I wouldn't say really long ago. I would say, God, I'm getting so old. Everything seems close. I would say 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. No,
there's no way.
Long time.
I was with you 15 years ago. She's 80.
She wasn't working when.
No, she's never worked.
Okay, so it was. Maybe
30 years ago.
Oh wow! Oh my God!
It's been a while, honey.
Well, you know how you get these things where you think about your parents, and they always do this.
She's turning 80 this year, and you retire at what, 65?
I know.
Come on.
I know. It's really weird.
All right.
Okay. How well off were your parents?
I don't know really how to answer that because they were both teachers. But here's what I do know. They were very smart with money. They bought things cash. They didn't have debt. And there was never a time where I couldn't do something. Like I did people-to-people trips and traveled.
Never felt deprived.
I never felt like we didn't, we didn't have whatever. Now, I mean, I didn't shop in name brand stores, but I didn't even really know what those were until I got to high school and I started to
So you guys weren't going to like Bottega Veneta
I don't even know what that
or
is.
Corneliani or anything like that?
Stop it. Oh, shut up.
Okay.
And we were going to Kmart.
Well, mine again,
but nothing wrong with that. Like, it was totally cool.
Mine again was super impressive, and I don't want to show you.
Yours shopped from Second Story Joe. Whatever fell off the truck landed in your living room.
That's a true story.
Let's be honest.
What was the question? What did they do for a living? My dad. No, it was how much money did they have?
How well off were they?
They were not well off. We started in a 2-bedroom apartment in Queens when I was 0, and when I left it. She's 80, and she's still in the 2-bedroom apartment in Queens. Now,
it's not about that, though.
Okay, is there a pile of cash? There's surprisingly, and
it's not. Okay.
Hold on. Hold on. Let me do this. I want to do this right. So here is what my dad did do. He was a guy that every nickel he had, he would spend, because for him, life was short and he wanted to make sure that he lived it well. But because he was a blue collar worker inside of a very good union in Queens, they'd take $5, I think was the number, of every hour that he worked, and they'd put it in a pot for his pension. That $5
and then it probably was matched, or there was some sort of thing.
There was a thing. So that number over 40 years turned out to be a significant pile of money that has served my mom and will serve her for the remainder of her life. She will not want for anything. She's not like rolling in it. She's throwing it around, but she's going to be great. She's going to do fine. She is really smart and she knows.
Okay.
So you're rushing me along. What's your problem?
I don't know how interesting any of this is to anybody, but okay. Let's keep going.
What were your parents' attitudes about money?
My parents, they saved. They were always great gift givers. They would spend it on other people, but, were very conscious of what they spent. But I never felt that as a child that there was like, well, we don't have money. Like, that was never really done to me. So I don't remember that kind of stuff. What about you?
Well, I just said it. Their attitude about money was I had it and I spent it. That's how they did. How did you view these parental ideas as a child? How did I view it? How do you view anything as a child? You absorb it, right? And you just watch it and you take it in. And I didn't particularly think. I don't know. I didn't particularly think there was anything wrong with it, or I don't think I had a feeling about it.
Let's talk about. Here's what I feel like is sort of being asked, but not really. The other views of what were my parents' views of people that had money. That's a different thing. That's a whole nother concept.
Yeah.
That I know your parents and my parents probably had some big views that impacted our money mindset and our financial blueprint, for sure. Not my mother, my father believed that education was a bigger issue for him. If somebody was educated, it made him feel very inadequate. If somebody had a lot of money, it was less impactful for him than the education. Education was a big deal for him, which is probably why education is so important for me. But if somebody were super wealthy, I think that he looked. I don't know that he necessarily looked down on them, but if anybody was super successful and had a little bit of ego or arrogance around it, he would. I'm struggling for words here. He always wanted, like, I knew that there was an income level that I hit. I think when I hit the point where I passed his income level, that triggered for him a feeling of, who do you think you are? You're a big shot now because you have all this money.
And I think that there was a part of that I saw growing up. So I always tried to tone it down and be as not forthright about discussing that part with him because it made him feel inadequate. I'm having trouble finding words.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think that growing up, I definitely know that people that had money, it was like, what do you need all that for? And, it's kind of like, oh, they must think they're so cool. Like definitely equated income to arrogance, which is unfair because it's not true. But I definitely had that thrown into my blueprint growing up.
Did your parents feel comfortable spending money?
Yeah.
So did mine. How did you view the attitudes about money as a child? We answered that. Did your parents save money or invest it? That's a good one.
Save and invest.
Mine did nothing.
That's not true. Your dad did the pension.
He didn't. So, but this is the.
He had to sign up for that, didn't he?
No, I think it's an automatic thing. Here's maybe.
I mean,
here's what I think he knew. I think he knew that this was a blind spot for him, that he needed to automate it. And he figured, like, I'm not going to see $5 out of every hour. It's not going to be that big.
I think they were enticed to do it, though, with, like, if you do this, then we'll match it.
There was a matching
thing. There was, like, so you were gifted or matched.
Yeah, but here's the point I'm trying to make. With Sophia, what you're doing is you're saying, look, you have a give, spend, and save bucket, right?
Mm-hmm. She has 3 jars.
Okay, so there's an education. Mm-hmm. And, I interviewed, Dara, I can't remember her last name, on my podcast. And her dad was a CPA,
I
right?
remember this.
And he taught her, like, they were studying stocks and bonds and investments and savings. And she started very, very young. She's like 30, I don't know how old she is, in the 30s, I think. And she's set for life because she started this like as a teenager. So financial education and literacy is not something I was taught.
Isn't it interesting how they don't even teach us in school at any level?
They don't. They don't, which is why books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad are such bestsellers, because think about what Rich Dad, Poor Dad is. It's literally a book about a kid that had a poor dad that had to find a rich dad. Yeah. Because the rich dad, like in Dara's case, taught her or him, in Robert Kiyosaki's case, about money. And I am, it bothers me because I don't have the fundamental training as a kid to really learn about this. And I defer to you because you did get this education.
No.
I think you got more than I did.
It was safe. But it was
but that in itself is an education.
It is sort of, but it was more out of scarcity. It was like, you never know when you're going to need it. It was like scarcity savings. It wasn't like investment in smart,
Did your family take family vacations or travel together when you were growing up?
One time we went to Florida we drove from New Hampshire to Florida. My mother bypassed 3 theme parks because my brother and I fought in the back. And on the way back, all I remember my dad saying is, I'm getting there. I don't care if I have to go through the night. We're getting home and I'm never doing this again. That was our one family vacation that I recall. And other than that, they had a timeshare at the condo for a week and we would go there.
And where was the condo?
In the mountains in New Hampshire.
Okay.
And they still have that timeshare. But I remember one family vacation and that's it.
Okay,
You went to Jamaica all the time.
Probably 2 a year. I think we went to the Caribbean 16 times.
Your dad was a diver.
We used to go to Palachi's, which was, if you remember, Don't Put Baby in the Corner.
Mm-hmm. Dirty Dancing.
That was the Jewish one, right? That was like the Concord, Grossingers. If you watched,
what's that area?
If you watched
in New York, what's it called? The Catskills.
The Catskills. If you watched The Marvelous Miss Maisel, that was the Jewish area. It's where the rich people went. Mm-hmm. The poor schlubs, the Italians, the Irish, the Polacks. We went to We went to the other part of the Catskills. I was always on the other side of the tracks. I swear to God, the freaking train went right through my heart every day. And we went to Palachi's, and Palachi's was the Italian Concord.
I would give anything to do a vacation there.
Do you know my father?
Can we make a vacation there?
At Palaci's? I'd love to look at.
Can we do one night at Palaci's?
You know, my father had a very bad car accident when he was younger. And at Palaci's, the one thing I remember was he had his jaw wired. He couldn't eat. So whatever they took on the buffet, he'd go to the buffet, make a plate, they'd put it in the blender and he'd drink it.
That is disgusting.
True story.
Oh, Robert Murgatroyd.
We're going to call this one the Gross Podcast.
I know. I'm sorry if you're still listening. I apologize. Next week will be better.
Did your family entertain? Let's call it company.
Did you have company?
Did your family have company?
Yeah, of course.
We had company all the time.
We had company, and the company got to go in the front room. No one else got to go into the front room.
Did they dance?
No.
Okay.
No. No company danced at my house.
I actually had the first picture I made in my mind was my mother and father and Vinny and Cece. The names. It's like watching the Goodfellas movie.
Yeah.
It's Chicky and Rose.
Chicky.
Would come over and they would dance. It was before the hustle. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the Lindy and it wasn't the hustle.
No one
it was
knows what
something
you're talking about.
It's okay, Google. It was something in the middle and they would dance with so they'd have, I guess
this was the 70s.
The 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 70s. But they had company over. They did. And
I loved having company.
I loved it. Did you love it?
I did, because your mother morphed into somebody totally different.
She was Mrs. Brady.
Oh, she was Miss Maisel all of a sudden.
There was a cheese ball.
Cupcakes or something
there was a cheese ball.
All of a sudden,
I had some donuts.
It was before the company comes. It was like horns and screaming, and then as soon as company was there, it was like
best behavior.
An angel turned, and your mother turned into an angel. Yeah.
Did your mother ever get drunk?
Never.
Mm-mm. I think I saw my mom drunk twice, and it was fucking great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
I wish I could get my mother drunk.
Okay. Did your family engage in philanthropy? Or charitable activities?
Mine did.
Okay. Not a nickel.
Mine did all the time.
Nobody got a nickel from my father.
Let me tell you what I remember. Okay. First of all, they gave to everything all the time.
Yeah.
But here's what I remember. My father was a high school basketball coach. Mm-hmm. And he coached in, another city in New Hampshire. And I remember there were kids on the team that came from lower income families, and basketball sneakers are expensive. It's one thing to buy school clothes. It's another thing to buy basketball sneakers. And so my dad would, if a kid couldn't afford it, he would go out and take a kid shopping and go buy him basketball sneakers. But it was never a thing that, there was no taking a selfie and posting it on Facebook. Mm-hmm. No one knew about it. It wasn't talked about. He respected, the kids, privacy.
Family, he didn't flaunt it for the family.
There was nothing about it. And it was one of the things that I respected so much that he would do. He would just get up and go to the store, or he would call. He had friends at Nike or Reebok, and he would call them, and he had some basketball players with huge feet. Yeah, and they'd send a bunch of shoes, and he'd give them to the kids. And, he was always doing something like that for someone. Yeah. But you never heard about it. And it was it was awesome.
That's great. That's why you are how you are. Did you have an allowance?
One where it was given to me? I didn't have to do anything?
Yeah.
No, I had a list on the back of the door in the library, and yes, I said library. Don't make a picture of something fancy. It's a room that's lined with shelves and books.
It's actually a really lovely library.
It is. But there was a list, and on the library behind the door, there was a list, and that's where the phone was. This was before actually they renovated, but it's where the phone was, right next to it, I think. And you had not the extension, but the cord that was 150-foot cord, right? You could go anywhere with that thing.
You go to 7-Eleven.
A 7-Eleven with
take
the cord.
Take the phone with you.
But yeah, my mother would say, if I said, Mom, can I go to the movies? Can I have money to go to the movies? She'd say, go check the list. And I'd have to go check the list. And you got $1 for this and $2 for that and $3 for this. And so I had to go, how much is the movie's going to cost me? And then I'd have to reverse engineer how I got that much money. And I'd have to do all the chores to get that money. And then I would do it.
But this is normal. Okay. This makes sense. There was no rhythm. There was no rhyme to anything I did. It was kind of like, Mom, can I have $20? Well, what have you done? What do you want me to do? Well, you think you could do something? What do you want me to do? There was no plan. There was nothing. And it was always this begging for money. In the end, it ended with, you want my blood? Fine. Okay? And then I got the $20. And I went to whatever movie I did.
But look at Sophia now. Sophia, she will come in. The other day, I gave her a Polly Pocket. She had done some nice things.
What's that?
A toy.
A sandwich?
And no, it's a toy. I didn't say a pita pocket. I said a Polly Pocket.
Okay.
And so she said, can we look at the other ones on Amazon? So I scrolled and I showed her different ones. And she said, I want that one. How much money is it? I said, it's $14. She said, can you make me chores and so I can do them and I can earn it? That's where she immediately goes. She's 5 years old. She immediately goes to I earn it.
Yeah.
I gift her things all the time, but she doesn't have the expectation of it.
It's great.
Yeah. And my mother did too, by the way. Like there would be times where I'd be like, Mom, going out for the night, and she'd be like, here's $10. It was not like there was no expectation of it. I didn't expect to get it. I knew if I wanted money, I had to go to the list. But every once in a while, it'd be like, here's $10. Here's like, even like in the pandemic right now, my dad called and he's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm good. Like,
why did you get a couple of dollars? A little stimulus money.
By the way, do you know what I got if we go to philanthropy?
Yeah.
So Sophia woke up the other day and she said, I want to give my give jar to the kids who don't have meals.
Yeah.
Because they're home from school.
She calls them Home Alone kids?
The Home Alone kids.
Yeah.
Homeless, but yeah, Home Alone kids. And so she said, I want to do my gift jar. Can I do chores to earn more money to give to the kids that don't have homes? I said, sure. So she did chores and I gave her money and we added it all up. We counted her gift jar out. It was like $20. She called my mom and she shared with my mom what she was going to do. My mom said, I'm going to send you a check. I got it today. Enclosed is a $50 check for Sophia's Pay It Forward donations.
Oh my God. My parents trained me how to lift people's wallets. Okay.
That's not true.
This is unbelievable.
Stop.
This is unbelievable. All right. Let's do this one briefly. What's your work history? Give me the things that pop out in your head. We've all had 1,000 jobs, but give me the highlights. So back
in the day, I worked at the Wigger store, Chess King.
Wigger?
You remember the Wiggers?
Wigger?
Yeah.
Was it really called Wiggers?
Wiggers, yeah. Wiggers. No. The store is called Chess King. I'm saying it was like the MC Hammer pants.
Okay.
And like the baggy jeans.
Okay, so Wigger is a derogatory term, not the name of the store.
It's a derogatory
I literally thought you worked for the store called Wiggers that service Wiggers.
It's all the kids that wore the pants down and, whatever.
Is that, can we say that? Is that?
I don't know. I mean, sorry. I mean.
Well, if you're a Wigger, then you probably own it.
They don't exist anymore.
I think there's still Wiggers.
I don't know. Whatever. So don't email me. I was 14. Okay. So I worked at Chess King. I sold that. And then I worked this was a good one. So I did not drink in high school.
Yep.
I worked at an under 21 nightclub. Mm-hmm. Soda. Mm-hmm. Do you want Coke? Sprite? Water? Well, my friends were drinking. My dad was dropping me off. George goes to bed at 9 p.m. Okay. Mm-hmm. He would have to pick me up at 1 o'clock in the morning from work.
That's love.
That's love right there. So I worked at an under 21 nightclub. I worked at the Chess King. I worked at a place called the Weathervane. It was a clothing store. The only job I never did was food service. Mm-hmm. Never did food service, unless you count smoothies, because I did my second job was working in a gym. I've worked in a gym since I was probably 15.
Yeah.
So I've worked in a gym all my life. Well,
God.
You have the best jobs.
Okay, so I'll give you some highlights. I washed hair, in a haircutting store. I squeegeed car windshields.
But that wasn't a job. You were like a kid from Queens that went down to the corner and made a few bucks.
Yeah.
Like no one hired you. There was no application process.
There was no application.
Okay.
He literally
said,
if you want to wipe windows, go ahead and you get whatever tips you can get. That's literally what happened. Okay. And during the gas crisis, I mean, you weren't even born, but during the gas crisis, who the hell knows? Jimmy Carter, do those years, because it was that year. During the gas crisis,
let's see if I was born.
People ran out of gas, and the way you got gas back then was whether or not you had an odd or an even license plate number. And the cars would sit in very, very long lines, sometimes 3-4 blocks long, and they would run out of gas. So I'd get tips to push the cars into the gas station.
Gas crisis started in 73 to 80. I was born in 79.
There you go.
So by technicality, I could possibly be in there.
I was working. Okay, I was working.
You were squeegeeing windows down the street.
I was working 6 years before you came out. And then let's see. After that. Oh my God! I mean, like, what do you want? A stripper?
Were you a stripper?
Yeah.
You were not a stripper.
Sort of.
It's Robert Murgatroyd.
I was working at the Lemon Peel.
You were working at the Lemon Peel, but were you a cocktail waitress?
Yeah.
Did you take your schmeckle out?
If they looked down my pants, they got $50. That's what I got.
Oh my God! You were a stripper.
Yeah, I guess I was.
You're more like a prostitute than a stripper. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was chiropractic.
I hope our neighbors can hear this conversation.
And that's another conversation.
You stripped your way through
I worked at Barley's Billiards in Atlanta. I was it was a high-end billiard place. I served.
You were a high-end.
Listen, I served Susan Sarandon once.
I know, you told me.
It's my claim to fame there.
Yeah.
But too many jobs to tell. Too many jobs.
I just want to go back to the stripper job real quick.
Did your parents celebrate your birthdays? Did I ever tell you what happened?
Oh my God. No, this is not actually in there.
This is a true story.
Do you want to hear if anybody is still actually...
What does that say?
If anybody is actually still listening to this podcast at this point, we apologize.
Listen, they're getting to know us and they're understanding that, look, what this is about, it's not about the crazy stripper stories.
No, it is though.
What it's really about is the two of us sitting here on Saturday night, locked up in COVID hell, having a conversation.
COVID hell, is that what you'd call it?
COVID hell. Having a conversation about our life, getting to know each other like we're keeping company. Do you want to hear a stripper story?
No, I don't.
Okay.
So about the birthday though.
Yeah. Okay, let me tell you what my mother did.
No, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
Because I've actually heard this 700 times a year for 15 years.
That's so not true.
It is so true.
Well, first of all, if it was, it makes sense.
You have PTSD from this story.
It was very, very bad.
But I'm going to tell you that you didn't break the cycle because Demi, our older one, has PTSD from her birthday. Too.
Which
if you'd
one?
like, we can.
So Sophia, remember what you did? What did you do with the Ninja Turtles? What was it? With the cake. Sophia talked about it for years, where you screwed up. What was it? What did you? What was
Paw
it?
Patrol or
Paw
something.
Patrol. You didn't give her Paw Patrol.
No, I did actually give her Paw Patrol, but I was like missing. It was like missing one brand new character. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Go ahead, tell your birthday story.
Oh well, okay. If you want to hear it, basically what happened was. I was a kid minding my own business, and it was my birthday.
Do you know what age this was?
It was a significant year. It was like maybe 14, 15, 16, something like that. And, company was coming over because it was my birthday, and, we're going to come over for a birthday. I'm expecting midgets, right, with confetti and a party.
So now we've actually offended wiggers and midgets.
They don't like to be called midgets.
No kidding. But you just did it.
I'm expecting
Twice.
something spectacular is what I'm trying to say. I was expecting something great. And the company...
Just wait till you get to the lemon peel.
The companies start arriving, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be a great day. I get...
The cake must be hidden.
I'm getting an envelope from Cece Casoria with a 20. Another one gives me a 30. Grandma, probably a 5. Okay?
Grandma always gives you 5.
It's like a 5. But I'm feeling good. I got the boost, right? I got the envelope, the bag, And my mother slips me a 10 or a 5 or 10 and says, go down the block and go get an Entenmann's cake. I said, for what? For your birthday. You want me to go down, get my birthday cake? Yeah, well, I don't have one. This was a traumatic thing, okay? This was horrible.
Tell me about it.
This was indicative of, it's childhood trauma. Let's be honest.
So do you remember when Demi, what was she turning, like 8?
Demi's our 22-year-old, yes.
I think she was turning 8, and you were like, let's take her out to dinner. And you decided to pay forward the childhood trauma. And you said, we're going to go to, I made a reservation in a really great restaurant in town called the Iberian Pig. And I was like, oh, right. So that restaurant serves pig cheeks. It serves all kinds of weird parts of the pig.
Yeah.
Foie gras and all the things. Like the dessert was literally duck liver.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on the way, you're like, no, it's amazing, Demi. And I'm like, Rob, this is a mistake. Like this, she's like 8 or 12. I don't remember what it was. No, I think it was her 13th birthday. And it was like, we should be taking her somewhere, that she'd like. And you're like, no, it'll be great. She's as traumatized as you are.
All right, next question. How did your parents show you that they were proud of you?
Well, I'm still waiting for that one. But how did they show me they were proud? Well, my mother doesn't.
Or didn't they is the question.
My father always was. I don't know. I didn't even need the words from him. The actions, I felt it.
Yeah.
My mother showed me she was proud whenever there was other people around. She would tell them how proud she was of me, and therefore I knew she was proud.
I actually always felt like they were proud of me.
That's great.
I always did.
So you got that.
I got that. Yeah, I got that. There was no struggle there. I think that I always felt proud, yeah. Did you get presents at holidays, and did the fact...
Oh, my God.
Did that fact matter to you as a child?
Can I please, with my mother?
Yeah.
Did I get presents at holidays? Okay. So Christmas in my house is determined by a number of gifts. Now, that number varies year to year. And it doesn't matter if how old you are, like none of it matters. To this day, everyone will get an equal number of presents. Some could be $1,000 versus $1.
But if there's 10.
But if there's 10,
right.
There's 10.
I'll fill it 9 more empty boxes if you got 1,000, but you're going to get 10 boxes.
You are getting the exact number of boxes, and God help her if it gets thrown off.
Who is the kid in your family, Chad, that was like, hey, she's got 7, I got 9. Who was it?
Well, it wasn't me.
It wasn't you.
No.
But was there? I'm kidding. That's your brother. I
don't actually. He's actually very grateful.
Who was the one that made your mother do that? Was it?
No, I think it's her.
It's just
she's got she has accounting.
Yeah.
Like OCD counting. She counts the stairs. She counts the steps. She counts all the things. Right.
Yeah.
So I think she just has to have the right number of presents, which must really F her up when we come over and we bring our own presents, because then it all goes out the window, right? And there's just a different number of everything. But yeah, we got presents.
What is your last question? What is your happiest or best money memory? Tell the story of that memory to your partner.
Of my childhood or just in general?
What is your happiest or best money memory?
All right, I got it. I know mine.
Go ahead.
Do you know mine? Do you know my favorite money memory?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay. So when
I don't know what mine is.
I do. I know mine. So when we were going to celebrate our 10th wedding anniversary, this was our first year in network marketing, and I got a really big bonus check. And it was like, I don't know, $7,000 or something like that. It was like a bigger check. We were going to celebrate our 10-year anniversary in Greece. And I had gone down to Planet Blue. and found this dress that would have been perfect. It was like this beautiful, amazing dress. It was about $600. I was so close to buying it, but I couldn't do it. It was like, I knew I just got this check and all of that, but like I couldn't spend $600 on a dress that I felt like I would literally wear one time.
Yeah.
So I went back upstairs and I had Emily Farkas, Dr. Emily, who you've interviewed on the podcast, in the back of my head. And she donates her time around the world with an organization called Cardio Start, where she donates her time and her services, and she does heart surgeries around the world in countries that don't have surgeons. And I remember talking to her about this, and she said a surgery costs about $5,000. And it would be surgeries that in the US it would be $50,000. Like, it's at the blink of the eye, the surgery would be done here. But in other countries, they didn't have surgeons and it's very costly and whatever. So kids would die. And so I remember walking back upstairs from Planet Blue without the dress. I put it on hold though. And I said, you know what? I'm going to fund that surgery. And I sat on the couch and I opened my laptop and I funded my first heart surgery. And I literally closed my laptop and cried like the happiest moment of my life. And then I went to Forever 21 and I bought a dress for $23. And I loved it that much more because it meant something to me.
It's a beautiful story. I don't have one as good, but that's a beautiful story.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
What's your favorite money story?
Mine is going to be way more insignificant than that. But it was, we were in a really dark place in our life financially. And we were living in the dark place.
Remember the dark townhouse.
The dark townhouse. And
it was literally and figuratively a dark place in our life.
And I remember
we had Sophia yet?
Yeah. You were they had just constructed a beautiful high-rise in Buckhead, and I convinced you to go, come with me to go take a look at it. And they had the floor just beneath the penthouse that was and is arguably got to be at the top views in the city of Atlanta.
Absolutely.
And we were in a place that was dark and dreary and unsafe and depressing for a multitude of reasons. And I looked at this place and I was like, I want it. It was a stretch.
It was a huge stretch. In fact, that our first bonus check from our network marketing company was used to put that down payment.
Right. That's right.
Our first one.
And we took a leap of faith and we moved into that place. And it was a turning point in our life because
we had light.
It was more than light. It was, there's something, we talk about money a lot, but there's something like my friend Darren, was talking to me about like flying first class. He said, flying first class is great. There's no question about it. Like the seat lies down, you get good food, but really it's like, when you're in that environment, you start to meet people that are more interesting people. Not that people in coaching are not interesting, but you're finding different sorts of people. And in that world, it was such a step up for us socioeconomically.
Yeah.
That we were meeting people in the film industry and meeting people in the, like we had, Usher upstairs and Belle Biv DeVoe to the right of us. Like it was a very strange experience, you know? And we connected with restaurateurs who are, Steve Aoki's brother, who's downstairs, and, Justin Anthony, who, owns, a big group in Atlanta of restaurants. But these were all super interesting people that to this day, like I did an interview with Chris King yesterday. And if you don't know who he is, Google him. He's a big luxury brand guy. And he talked about, working with, him and Robert Mondavi and Justin Anthony and living in Atlanta. And, he's best friends with Dolvet. And Dolvet is, for those of you that don't know who he is, he was on
Biggest Loser.
The Biggest Loser, one of those shows. He's a trainer. You
interviewed him.
I interviewed him too. And, it brought back a lot of memories, and it brought back a lot of memories of some great people.
Moving into that place shifted our life.
That's the point I'm trying to make. That it was like, it wasn't so much a look at me, I'm on the top of the world. It was more like Gabby Bernstein talks about going up a level in emotion, right? Mm-hmm. But she got that from Esther Hicks, right? That's where that came from.
Right.
And when you're in that environment and you feel joy, there's just a different feeling.
Yeah.
Like you feel strong and powerful.
Your surroundings influence how you feel. And
so
when we
much.
woke up every day in the super dark apartment with the crazy cat, do you remember those long centipede bugs that like constantly, and people were getting broken into all the time, and it was dark, it was depressing. But it was where we were in our life, and we made changes, we made commitments, we shifted, and we moved into this quite literally bright, happy, sunny, beautiful environment, and our energy shifted every day when we woke up. It was like I was excited to raise Sophia there and not like nervous and scared, and everything shifts. And so I think it's really important. And I think what this chapter was about, to wrap it in a bow, is, how your upbringing can shift your money mindset. And whatever you were given, though, as your money mindset, like going through a lot of these, my parents did the best that they could. Your parents did the best they could. We're doing the best we can. None of us are going to do anything perfect, but you have to do the work too. Mm-hmm. So I can look and say, okay, so these are the great things I got from my parents and money mindset. These are the negatives I got. I need to do the work. And I love Secret of the Millionaire Mind, T. Harv Eker.
It's a book.
To actually do that work. I think I've read it 6 times, to be able to map out where my flaws were in money mindset and correct them. And that has allowed and served me moving into entrepreneurship and not worrying about charging people, and knowing the reciprocity, using things like Go Giver to understand the reciprocity of service as well as giving and making an impact, but also receiving on the other side. And so I think all of these questions that we talked about tonight is a great way for us to get to know deeper levels of, our family history and money, but also can reveal the blind spots that you need to work on.
So one of the things I want to say in wrapping up is how proud I am of you and what you're doing with, you mentioned your business, your network marketing business. You are exploding. Your team is going through the roof, hitting record numbers. You guys are working really, really hard. And I feel like Martin Luther King. I had a dream, and the dream I had was to live here in California. And I would not be living in California if it wasn't, we would not be here. If it wasn't for, we would not be in Italy. We would not be doing so many different things. If it were not for you helping people to realize their dreams, which is allowing us to realize our dreams. So, I'm a big fan of yours.
Thank you. I'm a fan of yours.
And
we should hang out sometime.
People ask me all the time. I am not personally in the network marketing space, but you are all up in it. If somebody wants
I'm all up in this bit.
Well, I want to give people a chance here because there's a lot of people who ask me about it, and I don't get it. I cannot respond to everybody. So if people want to if people want to talk to you directly about setting it up, I know you're working on bringing a new class of people in. What's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
I think Instagram, Kim Murgatroyd, at Kim Murgatroyd.
Okay, so
I could have made that easier.
You want them to slide into your DMs?
Slide into my DM.
Well, there you go. All right, everybody. Well, that is the last of our 8 dates. You heard 3 of them. Maybe we'll do another one. We'll see how it goes. Let us know what you think about the episode, and hope everybody is staying safe and doing well. Have a great night. All right, thanks for listening. If you love this episode and you know someone that needs some help in either stepping up their work hard game or their play hard game, it would mean the world to me if you shared this podcast with them to help me get this movement out there. So if you like what you heard, head on over to iTunes, take 30 seconds, and leave me a 5-star review, and I will be forever grateful. So until the next episode, excuses are over. It's time to live.